Brown from Mount Airy, South Carolina. And how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And excited to have you here because you are an advanced FasterEFT practitioner who inspires so many of us around the world. And we all really lack up your videos on your Kim Brown YouTube channel. And I would just like to say thank you for always inspiring me.
Well, thank you.
So Kim, I've got you on the other end today. And the reason I'm doing this interview and lots of interviews is because I find my clients have lots of questions about tapping and FasterEFT, like how can this silly little tapping thing work? So with each interview, I find there's more layers that we can peel back and have a look at the mechanics of how this is working and what's actually going on in the mind and how we operate as human beings, and what a fantastic modality this is to change problems.
Yes.
So I'm going to start off by asking, how has FasterEFT, eutaptics changed your life?
Oh my goodness. I would not be sitting here with you today if it were not for tapping. For many, many reasons. I was stupid. I was a failure. I would have never been out in public. So that has certainly changed. But when my husband died, if it had not been for tapping, I would not have survived that. That would have been the end for me. I would have not killed myself. That's not what I'm saying, but I would have just gone into myself, grieved myself to death. If it had not been for tapping, I would not made it through that. Tapping helped me lose weight. Tapping helped me to begin to be able to see myself differently, to love myself, to forgive myself and value myself. I don't even buy an ink pen now if it's not the ink pen that I know I like. So it doesn't matter if it's on sale. I'm not going to buy it. It's not the one I like. So I treat myself differently. I'm able to treat other people differently. And it's all because of tapping. My life is certainly not problem-free. Things happen, but I can meet those things because I am tapping. So they don't overwhelm me, take me down, knock me out, incapacitate me anymore.
Oh, that's amazing, because one of your success stories is you were quite a bit overweight and you lost the weight and managed to keep it off.
Mm-hmm.
And you would attribute that to learning to love yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My practitioner would continuously tell me, if you don't love yourself right now at the weight you are, you will not love yourself when you reach your goal weight. And I would continuously tell him, you're crazy. Can you not look at me and tell? My problem is my weight. And once that weight is gone, I will be living a blissful, carefree life. But at 25 pounds, I had lost 25 pounds. And I saw myself in a mirror one day, and my first reaction was disgusting. And that's when the light bulb came on for me. Oh my word, he's right. I've never lost 25 pounds in my whole entire life. I've never lost as much as 25 pounds. And I'm still hating myself. Maybe it's a good thing to learn to love me.
Oh, wow. So what would your advice be for someone who's starting off on a weight loss journey? Where do you start with addictions to sugar and eating too much?
We all have our particular programs, our particular way of doing things. And I don't necessarily know yours until we sit down and talk. But when we sit down and talk, I can begin to see the connections and the metaphors and the programs and the patterns. And you can begin to see them too as we talk and I ask questions and we tap. Some people are addicted to a certain type of food or to sugar or to carbs. Some people are eating out of loneliness. Some people are eating out of punishment. Some people eat to hide. Some people eat because it's love. We all have a different avenue we're coming from. But when we can begin to notice that program and to ask questions of that program, how is it that brownies mean love to me? Oh, it's because my aunt, who I loved, used to bake brownies for me. And I felt so much love with her. Well, what if I could receive that love from my aunt and give her love in return, and brownies weren't a part of it at all? So just noticing how that program was established.
And that's what you uncover in a FasterEFT session, which is a whole process. We ask so many questions, don't we, in that hour or however long we have, and that's a big chunk of it. And then only then, once we've uncovered all those programs, we go into the second section, and that's where we do the tapping, which is then going into that subconscious brain and changing all those programs and what food means to us. So amazing. So Kim, what is your definition of healing? Because we all are on a different healing journey. So what would you say the definition of healing is?
For me, healing is a lifestyle rather than an event. If healing is an event, then I'm working toward it and trying to grasp it, and something else happens and I lose it. And I consider myself as falling back down again, and I've got to make it up to that healing event again. But if healing is a lifestyle, then every day I can meet whatever comes my way, and I can manage. I can notice my body, mind, and spirit are working together. And working together and practicing being in the present moment, I can notice when something is triggering me, when something's off kilter, and I can repair rather than panic and retreat. So if healing is a lifestyle, then I can thrive and I have hope. So that's my definition of healing.
Because we are on a continuous journey, aren't we? And what would you have to say about people's particular journeys in terms of, it seems to me we all have certain wounds, triggers. Will we ever really be free of those triggers? Like, I can have a bit of a rejection, abandonment program that crops up every now and again. And I know that I'm so much better now because I'm aware of it. I can go, oh, there it is. So is that something that I will continue to live with and heal? Do you think it'll ever go away? And of course, it all goes back to childhood.
It seems like to me that we all have our foundational belief systems. that we have built our lives upon. There are some other stair-stepped ones along the way, but those foundational ones we may and likely will encounter for the rest of our lives in some form or another. I have not met a person yet who has not had the belief that once I lost this weight, I was skipping down the path to prosperity. And when I lost the weight, my children began to leave home, as children do when they grow up. My mother moved in with me. Then we had to put her in a nursing home. She died. My husband got a job in another state. He went on up there to the job. I stayed in Florida packing. He gets sick and dies. I move 1,000 miles to a place I've never even been. I have to begin to support myself and my daughter, who is still a teenager and in college. And I've never managed money before. He did it all. So once I lost the weight, things were still happening in my world. And if it were not for developing that mindset of tapping, then I would have been taken down probably by the first one. But the mindset is key, and it isn't all bliss when that thing is solved. But when you know, oh, okay, this is a process, and I may encounter another layer of mine was stupid. I'm just stupid. So I still can be triggered by stupid on occasion. It is nowhere near what it used to be, but I can still be triggered. And when I am, most of the time I notice it pretty quickly, but sometimes I kind of like to feel it for a while, I guess. But I know what I can do with it. When I decide, okay, I've felt stupid long enough, I'm ready to do something about it. But yes, that's a long answer to a short question, but yes, I think we can encounter it for the rest of our lives, but it doesn't have to always be that same intense that it was in the beginning.
Oh, that is just perfectly put. And I so appreciate your honesty, because often it's, we like to think, oh, these things are totally gone and this is a miracle. But we are human beings and life is messy. And we have run programs our whole lives. So that was just perfectly put. And I think it's going to be so helpful for people watching this. Like, just to keep working on it and keep being aware of those patterns as they come up. So one of your closing line, I think, on just about all your videos is the most amazing experience you will ever have is the experience of changing your mind. Tell us a little bit about that.
I think that came probably from sitting in an airplane, looking out the window, amazed at the view, and suddenly the thought comes to me, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be afraid. I'm afraid of airplanes. How did I even get in this airplane? How did I even buy the ticket? How did I go through security? How did I go through takeoff? How am I here? I didn't even tap on airplanes. I didn't even tap on fear. I was working on weight loss. And somehow the fear of flying was attached into something I was working on, and I didn't even know it until I was in that airplane. It really is amazing what can happen with intentional working on something and just working on what's in front of you. You are releasing other things as well. And changing my mind has changed my whole life. I've seen it in clients as well. It really is more amazing than jumping out of an airplane. It's more amazing than seeing the most beautiful waterfall. It's more amazing than walking that Camino. Even though I know that was amazing, it's still the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, because it's really about taking back our control and realizing that we have the power to change and create our lives.
Yes.
But so often we've been subordinate and submissive.
But we do. We follow those
Especially women.
programs. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and it's about giving yourself permission too, isn't it?
Yes.
Not waiting for someone else to say, okay, you can do it now.
I wanted so badly for somebody to fix me.
Yeah.
And I was the only one who could. I wasn't broken, which was a good thing to find out too. I didn't need to be fixed. I just needed to ask questions of those programs and discover that I could change them.
Amazing.
Nobody else could do that for me.
Yeah. This is all so wonderful. So I'd like to ask you now about changing memories, because this is one of the key components and the pièce de résistance in FasterEFT eutaptics, changing memories, because those are really the things that are supporting our behavior and what we attract into our lives. Robert Smith says, you know, old memories never die, they just show up in a new pair of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you got to say about changing memories for people who are listening and the powerful impact of that?
I resisted it for quite some time. I felt like memories were sacred and they should not be touched or changed. And somehow my practitioner sort of wove his way around just saying, okay, well, we won't work on a memory. And one day, somehow we got there. I guess I had tapped enough, allowed it, and the memory changed. And I was so amazed. It was so amazing that I said, okay, let's go after everything. This is powerful. But I've also discovered that a lot of people don't feel like they have memories. But pain is a memory. Smell is a memory. Sound is a memory. There are people who have come to me and said, well, I don't have a memory. So I said, okay, that's fine. What do you believe about that? Or what do you believe about your problem? And we work from the belief, and lo and behold, there is a memory. There's always that memory that is supporting it, because there was that event or that person or what you experienced, and it was so emotionally impactful that you decided this is going to be what I have to avoid and spend my life avoiding and searching to make sure I avoid it. And sometimes the actual awareness of that memory isn't there, but obviously we know every sight, sound, smell, touch is recorded in our subconscious mind. So making that connection through whatever method we have to get there is powerful.
Yes, I know I have a particular memory of being an au pair in Paris, and which was a very traumatic time for me because of many things. And I was living in a dark, dank little room on a mattress with no bathroom, and it was freezing. And I had to find my way through this building to get to a bathroom. And I've now changed that in my mind. I did that with Pam Wright, one of the master practitioners, and turned it into the most beautiful little French boudoir. And now that memory is a happy memory for me, and I'm prancing around Paris. Yeah. So it really is a powerful procedure, because all I can see is all that lacy stuff now.
And isn't it amazing when, well, it's not happening now anyway. So why? What is the purpose? How does it benefit me to continue to torment myself with that image? Would it be okay to change it to something that was good for me, just like you did? And benefit from that rather than constantly be wounded by it.
That's it, because the more we change our memories, those limiting, those dark, the negative ones, the more we fill our subconscious minds with great stuff, and then the reticular activating system starts looking for more of it.
Yeah.
I love the science behind it. And as you say, memories are not real. You know, the event is long gone. It's how we've decided to keep it. Yeah. So let me ask you another question. Kim, who has been your greatest teacher?
My greatest teachers have been my children and my clients.
Can you expand?
And both have taught me that I really love people. And I did not know that before. The old Kim did not know she liked people. She was afraid of people. People were dangerous. But my clients and my children as well have encouraged me to learn more, to grow, to connect, to interact, to belong and be a part of. And old Kim didn't do any of that. So that has been freeing, so freeing to do, and to discover that I really do love people. Fascinating.
I think I can join you on that one, because growing up in South Africa, I was really conditioned to be fearful of people. They might rob you, they might kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself walking on a beach in beautiful Noosa, Australia, and not wanting to make eye contact with people walking along the beach. And when you do this work, you start to question why.
Yes.
Why? How do I know that it's not safe to make eye contact with people? And it is amazing the journey you go on to find the answers, and they're always there. So now, when you see me walking on a beach, Kim, I'm greeting everyone. And the amazing spin-off is that I feel connected, and I've triggered all those happy hormones in my body.
Yes.
So another question I'd like to ask you is, what is the biggest change you've witnessed in, say, one of your clients? Just to give an example of how powerful this system is.
Okay, well, I'm going to go down a path that may not be traversed. But for me, the lame walking and the blind seeing is a marvelous event. But if that lame person runs out of the house and falls down the steps and hurts themselves, they may say, oh my goodness, I knew it wasn't safe to walk, and come back in the house. And if the blind person looks in the mirror and sees themselves for the first time and says, oh, good grief, this is what I've looked like all those years, I knew it wasn't safe to see. Everybody wants this big, huge, massive thing. And what I love to see, and what is huge to me, is when I see that light bulb come on in that person across the screen from me, when they've made the connection. Oh my goodness. It really isn't true, is it? It really is just a program. And then they stand up and they go out and they meet the people and the places and the things in their world that have been triggering them. And they use tapping to address it. And they come back to me and they say, oh, you know, I was able to do it. And it turns out it wasn't even the way they treated me wasn't my problem at all. I realized it was their program. It really didn't have anything to do with me. Let's do another session.
Oh my goodness.
Anyone who actually stands up and walks out and meets their triggers and taps and asks themselves the questions, they are the winners. They are the massive changers. You do not have to be absolutely bedridden and now you're running around the world. You are making massive changes if you actually just do the work. If you actually just ask the question, is this real? Is this even true? They are the ones.
So I'm gathering you would encourage your clients to keep tapping and to keep unraveling all these beliefs that are just beliefs, that aren't even real, that are subjective.
Yes, my clients will come and they will say, fix me. I'm sorry, I do not have that ability. I show them this. I do not have a magic button. I do not have a crystal ball. But you have a magic button. It's right here. And you can learn to use it. And it really is the most amazing thing you will ever do.
So the actual act of tapping, what does that do? What do you tell your clients that does?
It disrupts that signal that your brain and your body are making, that this means this. And now that signal's being disrupted. So then I tell myself, I am safe. I am okay. I am safe. And we can create a new connection to a new story, like your story of the lovely room rather than that dank, damp, dark place. Making a new connection with new meaning.
Beautiful. I just love it. And you're back in the driver's seat of your life.
Yes.
So I have another question, and I guess I'd just like to touch on your work you did at Habilitate. You were part of the team 1 year. Was it 1 year? Or
Just one. Mm-hmm.
1 year you went and did tapping sessions on drug and alcohol affected people. It was a rehabilitation center, and it was, I think, 2 weeks of tapping sessions every day. Mm-hmm. What have you got to say about that experience and the problem of addiction?
Before I went, I thought, well, these people have it easy. They're sequestered away. They can't get to their drug of choice. It's no big deal. And oh my goodness, my eyes were open. You can create it. Now, I have been tapping for several years by this time, but somehow the connection wasn't even in my mind that you don't have to be there to experience it. You can experience that high. You can experience the actual needle going in or making your little concoction in the spoon. You can feel your hand doing it, even when it's not there. So them being sequestered away didn't do anything to what was going on in their minds and in their bodies. So we were able to tap on the residents there, and they are amazing people. They are so brave and strong. Every person there was just so awesome. And they were willing to do the work. They were willing to go to those hard places, the places that they just were not proud of, but they went there anyway. It was an amazing, amazing experience. I could have lived there with that. Now the regimentalness of it was definitely different than my free living at home life. So that would have certainly been a different story, but it was just amazing being around those people. But addiction, yeah, you don't have to have your stuff. It's all up here anyway. This is where the addiction is. The addiction isn't in that substance. It's here.
And they're generally trying to escape their hurts and their pains, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I was doing with my Coke, but it was Coca-Cola.
Well, what an amazing experience. I'm so envious as a practitioner, because someone once said, this is just school learning how to tap and tapping with people, but going to habilitate is university.
Yeah.
So what an amazing experience that you had. So I think I'm going to start to wrap this up and to come back down and discuss COVID-19. How has Kim Brown been coping with this extraordinary time of being isolated and lots of time to think?
Well, I've been quite busy with sessions every day anyway. And I live in a place, I mean, I'm surrounded by trees, so I don't see neighbors anyway, unless I go take a walk and then, we speak to each other, say hello. It wasn't until a couple weeks ago when I went to the grocery store one day and there was a big neon sign on the road that said, "Stay home." And then I began to feel it for the first time. So before that, I was really not experiencing any difference in my life at all. But Kim doesn't like to be backed into a corner. And that's another one of my things, along with stupid, is don't back me in a corner. I'm sweet as pie unless you back me in a corner. And that sign triggered that back in a corner thing. And I had to do me some work on that. Because when that sign said stay home, I felt like I was being pushed into that corner. Isn't that
And
interesting?
when were you pushed in a corner? What's your earliest memory of being pushed in a corner?
I do not have a memory of being pushed in a corner that I have consciously been able to find. So I'm still tapping on that statement, the way I phrase it, being pushed in a corner. And maybe one day I will come up with the memory of actually being pushed in a corner.
Maybe it's just being told what to do. Maybe you were told what to do.
Oh, I was definitely
Many
told
times.
what to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's not okay now for Kim Brown. She's in the hot seat of her life. Oh, well, Kim, this has been so amazing to chat to you, and I'm sure practitioners and clients and anyone who's interested in tapping and just how it works will have gained so much from this chat. It's your evening in North Carolina, and it's my morning. So I'm going to end off by wishing you a wonderful evening. And I'm going to repeat that your iconic phrase, sentence, idea that the most amazing experience you will ever have is the experience of changing your mind. Thank you, Kim Brown, for bringing all your ideas, your enthusiasm and your inspiration to this world.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.